No. Just no. Do you want to see this lying on your living room floor at 4 a.m? Yeah, I know some children are born like this. It is an ailment, but in the Western first world countries that we're in, this kind of thing is fixed quite early because, yeah, look at this thing. Imagine being a child suffering that condition and having to carry that into adulthood. In certain civilizations around the world, this is an issue. In South America and Central America, we have charities to give doctors over there money to fix this in children, because I think the last time I donated to something like that, it was something like $20 can fix this child's life and their social standing, and they don't have to be pariahs in society. They don't have to hide when they're older. But in our world, this is very treatable, and it does get done with our medical system, and you can get a rebate and money back. It's encouraged to do as soon as you can. So giving a child this kind of doll when they're not self-aware, when they're not at the age where they know they're different, is kind of makes me feel a little bit funny, because it's not about the kid. When kids play with things, they're using their imagination. They're away from reality. This child can have many different dolls. Why does it have to look like this? Can't help but think it's because mummy wants to look good. I think if I had a friend that walked in with a doll like this and their kid that I know went through the surgery or was pre-op for that surgery, I would say, oh, that's a really cool idea. But then I would realize that I was feeding into possibly their own need for attention. I have a friend who was born this way and obviously had the surgery to correct it, and has a scar on his lip, and he'll have that forever. He's perfectly fine. He's perfectly awesome adult, but I don't think he cares to think about what he used to look like as a baby. I'm sure if there are photos in existence, which there probably are, he doesn't want to ever see them. It's not something that I guess you should be drawing attention to for your kid. Especially if the kid doesn't realize what's happening. They don't realize they're different because they're so young. And if they're pre-op for this particular situation, then they're pretty freaking young and they don't know what the hell you're doing. You've given them this doll, and whether it's black, white, purple, whether it has a cleft lip, whether it doesn't, they don't even know, because they don't care. That's the beauty of children playing with things. Their imagination surpasses it all. Look at the Amish dolls, for example. They don't even have faces. The premise for that is that everyone's the same. We're not different. It doesn't matter what you look like. And when I see these people deliberately buying diversity dolls, it just shows me how tainted you get as you grow up. Another example I want to draw attention to is the sudden influx in my state, in my country, of dolls of different colored skin. Now, there is nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. I happen to be not Caucasian, so, it doesn't matter. But for us, where we are, we're kind of isolated. And to see a whole section of the shelf with people of color, black, African, whatever the correct term is, it's quite confronting. And when I use that word, I mean confronting, because when you look around, the types of people that resemble these dolls, we don't have a lot of. Yes, we have refugees. Yes, we have people that have immigrated to this country from, say, Sudan, that kind of stuff. But predominantly, it's a lot of Caucasian people or mixed race people. And so to see these dolls, you're like, whoa, oh, okay. It's just that where I live, we don't have a very big population. And so the demographic that this might appeal to, or why they say they brought it in, isn't very big. And from a business standpoint, I would like to know just how many units of those get sold, because every time I walk past those shelves, they're on clearance, or one of them's flashing a big sign that says discontinued stock, because we just don't have the market. So you've got to wonder why they're here. Who are they actually catering these dolls to? And I think I've found out. If you are listening to this and you recognize that this is your story, don't know what to tell you. I mean, you put your stuff on social media, people are going to think what they think. Okay, so this is just the impression I got, but I know somebody on social media. Their child is very blonde. Their child is blue-eyed. They are blonde. They're blue-eyed. The dad is, I think, almost blonde and light eyes. So they have a child that looks like them. And then it just gets posted to social media. The kid, who can barely walk at the point where they uploaded this, just learned to start walking, is dragging behind a black baby doll, and across the whole thing is captioned, "This is her favorite toy." Is it though? Or did you just feel the need to get clout because you think being a Caucasian woman that's liberal that you need to do something like that? I don't know. I'm all for if you take your kid to a shop, and this did not happen because, as I said, the kid can only just walk. You know, if you took your kid to a store and it just makes a beeline for a doll that's totally a different race, different color, different ethnicity, whatever represented there, and they just want that doll, whether it's they like the skin color or maybe they like the different textured hair that's been sewn into it, get them the freaking doll. They like it. Kids like what they like. It's got nothing to do with anything. If they wanted that doll, awesome. But if you and your stupid friends, which by the way I later found out, apparently according to the next post that auntie whatever bought it for her, if you and your stupid friends are buying this kind of stuff to use it as a token to try and get clout, that's number one, very sad, and two, I think that makes you the racist. Which brings me back to these stores that are stocking copious amounts of these dolls. They're doing it so that everyone thinks they're making such a progressive step in the way of manufacturing dolls for children that will never actually be bought. I mean, it looks like they're not being bought by the demographic that they're apparently targeted to. In my state, my city, we don't have the population to warrant this many in the store. And unfortunately, being a person of color who has had people try and speak up for me when I have not wanted nor needed it, it just makes you wonder what the motives actually are. They want to be seen as being progressive and woke. And it's not even an original idea. All companies, if you look around, every single company is trying to make a U-turn and trying to go back and collect people that they missed that care about this crap. Companies want to be woke. They want to be seen as on the forefront, being progressive in society. They're just going about it the wrong way. So to come full circle, they also very celebrated on the internet with women that have far too much time on their hands is the disability niche of dolls. The articles surrounding it actually do say we are tapping into a niche market we have never looked at before. It's to make money. I don't know how much money you're going to make. I think working on these dolls, because they're so elaborate, is probably going to end up very costly, and therefore I don't know how many units you will sell. But there are dolls, you know, in wheelchairs with breathing apparatuses on their face and holes in their neck and massive birthmarks on their face. And again, all cater to a demographic of children that are too young to know that they are different until you try to point it out. Toys and playing is about fantasy and about imagination. These kids are escaping their reality. Some of them think they can fly. And you're bringing them back down to earth by saying, oh look, you are in a wheelchair. Here's a doll that looks like you. I don't know. I think it's going to backfire, to be honest. But hey, I don't know. I can tell you, growing up playing with Barbie dolls, never once, when I was self-aware of what I looked like and the fact that I was mostly different to the people in my class in elementary school, because they were all, you know, quote unquote white, I knew that I was different, but never once did I look at my Barbie dolls and combing their blonde hair and think, oh my God, I'm not represented. It was a doll. I was more concerned that my dolly got to play with other dollies and they were all walking around buying things and going over each other's houses. And I had a Barbie car. It was a big, bright pink car that I'd put the Barbies in, and then I'd go up to my friend and be, put your dolly in here. I didn't ever want representation because I didn't know what the fuck that was. Actually, come to think of it, at the time, my mum probably didn't either, because it's not something at the forefront of your mind. It's only put there. It's put there as a seed by people that want attention and then want to be woke. And like all woke things, they play to the emotions and they come across like someone's genuinely trying to help. And maybe some of these people are. Maybe it was an idea where they want children to be represented in the doll world, even though most kids don't know what the fuck representation is. But it comes across like, oh, I'm trying to help. Just be aware that a lot of the times they're not. A lot of the times they're using this thing as clout to get attention and to get respect from their equally shallow friends. Final story. There are a lot of stories and theories and controversies surrounding certain parents with certain children, but I'm going to just talk about one that I knew. This woman had a child who she told everyone had special needs. So we think, oh, okay, that must be challenging sometimes. Oh, you know. But What I didn't chime in with, because I knew the family and I was dating her brother, was that her child was not special needs. Her child had eczema. Liberal chicks, man, they've ruined everything. Yes, it's cool to have different coloured dolls. Yeah, it's cool to kind of have a disability one. But I think it's just going to be used by people that don't have much substance in the way of a personality, or dramatic or histrionic, or who need attention, and they'll go to any lengths to get it. Good thing the dolls are only $16 in Kmart. Don't want to be one of those people that's asking you to sub and like, but if you feel like commenting or liking, that would help me out. It'll give me the power